Hey everyone, this is HypoWallow and welcome back to more Let's Play Sabrina the Animated Series Zapped. In the last episode, we finished the dock, and in this episode, we'll be starting level 3, the mall. So that password I just entered in will allow us to access any level in the game, including the boss levels. And so, one thing I've come to notice about this game is that it has a tendency, especially in first levels, to have just to throw a good group of animals right in front of you. And so what we'll do is that we will take care of these 5 animals on this first floor. And I've got to say, I find the animal placement, the animal choice for this level to be pretty interesting because honestly, when is the last time you've ever seen a mole in the mall? I mean, I can't even say that I've seen one in real life, let alone a mall. So here we have a brand new power-up. This is the bubble, straight out of the Warrior Land series. It does exactly what it sounds like, is that if you jump and press up, then we turn into a bubble. Then to get out, we can press down, or if we wait to hit a ceiling, then we can do that as well. So here we'll take out these bee enemies, which looks somewhat similar to the Tinkerbats from the Shantae series, you guessed it. And so there are also stars on this floor on top of these doors, but I wouldn't really bother getting them this time around. So all the levels are pretty vertical. This will basically be our elevator throughout this entire level. And so one thing I gotta say, I'm pretty sorry that these episodes that haven't been up as early as I'd scheduled them to be up. So I originally planned for my schedule to be one episode a week since I'm not doing as many art classes this semester, but I've been having trouble with OBS lately, but part of it is my fault because I was setting the bitrate a little too high. But this has given me a little bit more time to do some more research because originally I hadn't really taken this series too seriously because I had thought that it was just based on the live-action sitcom, and then there was also a sequel to this series as well as a CGI animation that came around 2013. But as it turns out, that is not the case. So the character Sabrina the Teenage Witch has been around as long as October of 1962, originally appearing in Archie's Madhouse number 22 as part of Archie's comics, and it was originally created by writer George Gladier and artist Dan DeCarlo, and it was originally meant to be just a one-off, but due to fan demand, they have since released 3 volumes of the series, one running from 1971 to 1973, Volume 2 running from 1997 to 1999, and Volume 3 running from 2000 to 2009. And there has also been a manga iteration of the series running from 2004 to 2009. And so for those of you who are unfamiliar with the series in general, the basic premise of the series is that Sabrina is a half-human, half-witch human, living life as a normal teenager, born of a human mother as well as a witch father, living with her 2 aunts who are also witches, Hilda and Zelda, and her cat Salem, but more on Salem in a moment. He also has an interesting backstory. And so, pretty much, Sabrina uses her magic for good to help people in secret because due to the Witches' Council, which are basically the overseers of the realm, of the Witches' realm, witches are not allowed to reveal that they're witches, and they're also not allowed to use their magic in front of humans. And so, she uses her magic to help people as well. And George Gladier actually got the name Sabrina from a woman who was around in his junior high days, who was involved in his school affairs as well as allowed them to interview prominent members of the media. And plus he said that it had a nice New England ring to it. But as it turns out, the woman's name was actually Sabra and not Sabrina, but the name just still stuck. And so we have our new chameleon enemies here, which will also turn invisible so you won't be able to get them for a little bit. So yeah, it's actually amazing how much 5 to 10 minutes of research can make for some more interesting commentary. Because I think it's kind of a good thing because at times when I was recording this, I can't even tell you how many times I've tried to record this in general, but at times it was starting to sound like a blind LP when it wasn't really meant to be. It was more of like acting as a guy, like, do this, go there, get this animal. But as much as I don't mind that, it's getting a little too much, and so I think it was kind of a good thing because it allowed me to go back and do some more research on the game, which you know, whenever I do a project, I always love to do as much research as I can, which is why I love channels like Chugga Conroy and Did You Know Gaming, because just the interesting little bits of trivia that you find out through games. And so this is also why I'm also following Ultrafacts, which I gotta say, I know what some of you are thinking, ew, Tumblr, but hear me out. If you had to follow one blog on Tumblr, I would totally recommend Ultrafacts. You will not be disappointed. So, just speaking on mall levels in general, I hit on this in Kirby 64 just like briefly, and I mean briefly, that I think mall levels are a very interesting concept. Well, you know, we have this here, and then we had that third level from Shiver Star in Kirby 64, as well as Coconut Mall and Mario Kart, which I find pretty hilarious because I used to hate the mall as a kid, like with a burning passion. I don't mind it as much now because now I kind of have free reign over where I go because I'm adult now, but as a kid it was just miserable, especially if I ever went with my mom because, for one thing, I was always in extended day because she would always have to work late because she worked at school, so she actually worked extended day at her school herself, so I was always at school longer than I wanted to. And so back in elementary, they'd allow us to play on the playground and what have you, and so I didn't have time to do homework, so sometimes my mom thought it was a good idea to go to the mall right after she picked me up from school, which I was ready to get home and just get my homework out the way and just do whatever, play games, watch TV, whatever, just to get my mind off school. But it always dragged on longer than it needed to with going to the mall like right after school. So, and another thing that I never really enjoyed about the mall as a child, because I always thought that the mall was kind of a den of lies, because let me ask you something. I know any of you who hated the mall, like with me, who are always stuck at the mercy of wherever your mom went, whatever store she went to, you know, you would always have that look of just impatience and just have this look of distraught on your face. And let me ask you, how many times has your mom ever told you, oh, we'll just be another 10 minutes? But it's never 10 minutes, is it? Just 10 turns to 15, and 15 turns to 20, and 20 to 30, and 30 to 45, and 45 to an hour, and so on. I remember one time in general where I was with my mom and my sister, and we probably got to the mall around like 4, and we probably stayed till closing. Like the security guard had to let us out the emergency exit. We were there for so long. You know, it just tells you just me telling you how vivid that memory is, just tells you just how much I just had so much disdain for the mall as a child. And so here we have Salem. Salem Saberhagen is his full name, by the way. And so he also has an interesting backstory. He was actually a human witch at one point, a male witch, where he was sentenced to spend 100 years as a cat for, depending on what medium you follow. According to the comics, that he has absolutely no powers whatsoever. I didn't see what exactly he got turned into a cat for in the comic, but according to the live action sitcom, he was turned into a cat for 100 years for trying to take over the world. And I don't remember the sitcom all that much, but whenever I was looking up research, it said that there were also, like, the people who were in cahoots with him were also turned into house pets as well. Which, also, fun fact about the live action sitcom was that during the 98 to 2000 Kids' Choice Awards, Salem was nominated 3 times for Favorite Animal Star and won all 3 times. You know, it was back when the KCAs were pretty relevant. I was kind of turned off by the KCAs because especially just for the video games category, because I've realized just how rigged they were. Like at points where like Nick games would win over much more superior games like Mario games and even Madden at the time, even though I'm terrible at Madden. And if this one group, I can just actually just zap him from here if this thing would actually get down from his pole. So I think I'm gonna. I don't know if I can actually get up from here and actually get him from down here. So I'm gonna try my hardest just to get him down here. So if I can just, I'm gonna see where I can just get up to get from here. If I can just, okay, you know what? I'm just gonna see if I can cut till I get up. All right. So as it turns out, there is actually a way to get this thing. So what you want to do is take Salem all the way to the right and come up to this cat block. Get the bubble up here. In order to get this chameleon, which goes to show you just how studious I am of my notes sometimes. I completely forgot about that bubble power-up being here, even though it's the mainstay power-up of this entire level. So we'll go back up here and get this chameleon now. And so, also, that's another thing about the bubble power-up is that whenever you press down, you end up doing, if you had the ground pound, then you immediately end up doing another ground pound instead of just popping right out the bubble. So be careful of that if you want to try and get the height advantage over some enemies. So let's go to the exit now. And so, another thing about Salem, about like I was saying about why he was being turned into a cat. According to there was apparently a movie of the live-action sitcom. He was apparently turned into a cat for actually kissing a mortal because, like I said before, witches and humans were not allowed any contact due to the rules of the Witches Council. So let me remember where the exit is. I think it's down here, if I'm not mistaken. Okay, so as it turns out, I was way off on where the exit was. It was actually up here where I got that chameleon, so that level could have been done a whole lot sooner. So this next level is actually pretty easy. It's only got 9 animals in it, and another, like I was saying before, some of the levels have it to where you just run straight and get these animals. So now we'll have a new animal, a good old raccoon in a flower pot. Like I said, these animal things are pretty interesting to say the least. I mean, I think the reason that I say interesting because that back in the dock level, a lot of the animals there made sense. Like those are definitely animals you would see at a dock or a beach, like pelicans and I can't even remember what other animals were there. I just remember pelicans and crabs and you know what have you. Others like fish, obviously they're in the water, but here we have raccoons and moles and this sort because animals are getting in the malls. And I would maybe there's a pet shop that we don't know about in the mall. Like I know our mall used to have a pet shop way back when, and so that's another thing that I kind of like come to like grow to hate about the mall as a kid, because it was always a constant reminder that I was like, it was like almost like forcing me to grow up in a way. Because I say that because I know like the KB toys that used to be in the mall when I was a kid. I remember playing Sonic Adventure, like whenever they had that on display. That's now a menswear, like specifically a suit shop, and like there used to be GameStops, GameStops in our mall. And more of them recently has now been turned into a Route 21, and the one across the street is now like a mom and pop, like local game store across the street. And there was even one now. There were four at one point. There were four GameStops in a 1 mile radius, and now there are about 2, and which is pretty interesting. But I think another, you may be wondering, did I ever have a pleasant moment at the mall? And the answer is yes. I remember one time, I was probably 5 or 6. I was at the mall with my parents and my sister, where okay, hold on. Alright, sorry about that cut there. I just wanted to make sure that I wasn't missing anything. So as it turns out, you do have to time your jumps really precisely there. But I was saying before, one of the few pleasant experiences as a kid at the mall. So me and my parents and my sister were at the mall. It's probably around 5 or 6 and at Dillard's, and this was at the time around the N64 was out, and they just had one on display just out in the open with a copy of Smash Brothers on it. I remember me and my sister playing that, and so you would think that maybe one of those pleasant experiences might have been, sitting on Santa's lap or like sitting with the Easter Bunny. That is not so. If those of you who don't know me, I was pretty scared of like a lot of things as a kid, and mascots were no exception. It's just, I don't know if it was just like the thing about like sitting on the stranger's lap while like feeling helpless, while my mom specifically just like sits there and watch me just like talk to this stranger. Like, it was a really weird feeling as a kid. I don't know what it was about it, but it's just something about, I don't know what it was about mascots in general, but they just like scared the mess out of me as a kid. But it's not so much now. I think I've gotten over my fear of that now, but I just want to say that if my kid self would have known about like would have known about like stuff like Five Nights at Freddy's, I probably would have never set foot in Chuck E. Cheese ever again because of that game. So I have one animal left to get. I believe it's down here somewhere. Oh, you know what? We just got the bubble power up, so let's get to using it. It should be up here somewhere if we got the bubble power up. Okay, so Salem should be of use somewhere. Right here, I believe. But how is he going to get up here? Like I said, oh, duh. Okay, that would explain a lot, actually. So this is exactly what I wanted to avoid, is that having this become a blind LP. But granted, I haven't played this game before this project in about, I don't know, 10, 12 years maybe, before picking this game up again. So let's go back down here, and so we'll take a ground pound. I believe both of these just lead down to the bottom to the area that we want to get back to, down at the bottom here. And we saw this ground pound area down at the very beginning of this level. So we'll go back down here. Okay, so there, take out this mole that's here for some reason, and get to our exit. Yeah, so like I've been saying, it's actually pretty cool how they use the power-ups to use them to our advantage, to where we get to use them as equal. You get equal opportunity use out of all the power-ups as well. And so here's another one of those examples of where the levels get pretty vertical. There's going to be another elevator shaft. There's actually 2 of them in this level, if I'm not mistaken, where we use the bubble power-up to just go up the shafts here. We'll take out these last couple animals on the floor. And so, oh, we missed one up here, so we'll get him to... I'm starting to I never realized just how much that these bees look just like the Tinkerbats. It's almost uncanny in some point. So I believe we want to go up this one with the jump power up. It also works just as well as the bubble. Yeah, there are a lot of points in this game where you want to just time the apex of that multi-jump, and like at the apex of your jump there, so get that heart that we don't need. I just love collecting the presents. I know I keep saying that getting the stars aren't worth it, but I never actually bothered to remember where all the well, I should say that. I've never bothered to commit all the stars to memory, like where all of them are. I did end up writing down all where the presents were. I ended up like writing out a path to where to go, but but whenever I start to record, like some of these later levels, I just decided to throw that out the window and just screwing around, and that's probably why you see a bunch of cuts, is that I'm just talking and I'm not even paying attention to the game necessarily. So yeah, this last level is not really all that hard. See, we're already down to the last 3 animals that we need to get, so we'll get Salem here, and so get this last bee right here while we're at it. So there's another one. Yeah, so some of these levels they may look like they have a bunch of animals, but for the most part, a lot of the time, all of them are pretty well meshed together in certain areas. And so take Salem, who I'm assuming we'll use to get the ground pound here somewhere, if I can remember where it is. Where is it? This may take some time to... Oh, you know what? I think it's it's right here, actually. Wait, we were right on it, and yet we managed to not get it. It's pretty interesting. So we'll go down. Okay, I keep forgetting about the water. Totally forgot about that water. Also, watch out for the water. Okay, so last animal we'll get, and I believe the exit is somewhere, obviously, in this level. Where it is I actually don't remember right offhand. It should be. Oh, you know what? I think it might be over here, actually. So how easy it is to... Yeah, it's right here. So, who is prepared for one of the easiest for unquestionably the easiest boss in this game? So watch out for the eggs. Jump on its head. Go to the pots. Watch out for eggs. Jump. This is one of the, I believe this is the only boss in the entire game that takes 1 or 4 hits in order to take it out. So jump. Watch out for egg. Jump. Zap. Zap. Saved. That is it. It took all of 30 seconds. But that is going to do it for this episode. I'd like to thank you all for watching. This has been HypoWallow, and until next time, I'll see y'all later.